Hey everyone, welcome to my first ever Devlog. I'm a game developer who is still learning, and this is my very first time actually documenting the process of making a game. The game I'm working on is called Last Bullets, and I originally made it for the GMTK Game Jam. It turned out better than I expected, but after getting some feedback, I realized there were a lot of things I wanted to change and improve. So in this devlog, I'm going back into the game, fixing the problems, adding new features, and hopefully turning this game into something I actually am proud to release. So yeah, let's get into it. If you haven't seen the game before, which you haven't, the whole idea is pretty simple. You are this little guy and your clan has been cursed with a disease that can eventually kill all of you. But you have to fight enemies in order to gain more time to live. The only way to keep yourself alive is to keep enemies, to kill enemies and steal more time from them. The original game version was made during the GMTK game jam, so obviously it was held together with duct tape. But after the jam ended, I went back to look at some of the feedback people gave me, and there was one problem that kept coming up. The game wasn't intense enough, and honestly, they were right. You could sometimes just stand there waiting for the enemies to move into position, shoot them, collect the time, rinse and repeat. That isn't exactly what I call fighting for your life. So I started reworking the game around one idea: make the game feel like they are constantly running out of time. So, first, with the enemies, some of them were too slow, especially the worms. So instead of having it sit there and hop around, I made it constantly move and then burst when when it hops. Then I started increasing the enemy speed and strength as the wave progressed. But I didn't want to solve the difficulty problem by just giving the enemies a lot of health. I wanted the player to feel pressure, and that is where the clock UI really became important. I completely reworked the clock UI and turned it into its own custom object, plus a few tweaks, and now the clock handles everything itself. It changes color depending on how much time you have, shakes as a visual indicator when you take damage, and expands when you gain time. Plus, it can't go above the maximum time limits to enforce that you have limited time, or else players will just keep stacking time until they are invincible, like the last version of the game. And for the upgrades, I made upgrades in the game when I first made the original version, but they're a bit boring. So instead of throwing them on a boring menu over the screen, I wanted the whole thing to feel like the time has stopped for a moment, so the player can choose how their build evolves. And this is where I want to take the game much further. Right now, the game is mostly about surviving wave after wave, but I don't want the final version to feel like it's a never ending wave of enemies. One of the biggest things I want to add is a story. I don't want to reveal everything yet because I haven't figured out exactly how I want the story to play out. But I want the player to eventually understand why all this is important and what actually happened in the world. And to help with that, I'll add NPCs who give dialogue about the world's current state, new weapons, landmarks, and different stories that each reveal another piece of the bigger picture. But that's something I'll get into next time. For now, that's all I have for this devil. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.